Well, hello everyone. It is Victoria, the soul nurturer. Um, and I decided to go live. I had a commitment to go live every other week a while back, but I had all kinds of weird lighting issues and stuff like that. Like right now, you can see my lighting is a little off, not as good as, and it's just a long story. So I couldn't figure out the lighting. But I'll tell you what, this uh, lunar eclipse in Scorpio, full moon happening on May 5th, tomorrow. I am on the Pacific time and Washington State, so you'll have to adjust accordingly where you are. But anyway, I got so many calls from people, so many old clients, new clients, like needing to get in, asking me for my soonest available, which I'm booked out quite a ways, but I'm trying to fit people in because I know and I feel, yeah, there's some intensity. I think in some ways, this is interesting. I've noticed that I feel the intensity, and yet I'm at home in the intensity. And if you're a Scorpio, any Scorpios out there, or Scorpio moon, Scorpio risings, you probably can identify with this as well. So I don't know if anybody shows up. I never know with these lives. And the thing about lives that I do like the interacting with people when they come on. The thing I don't like is there is a delay in the video being posted. In other words, when I upload a video, it's accessible to everyone right then and there, and I could also download it and upload it to my Instagram. There's a delay on that with when you do live streams, unless there's some secret I don't know. Anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. Whenever you watch this video, maybe you'll watch it later tonight. Maybe you'll watch it tomorrow. And maybe you'll watch it a few days after the eclipse when you're sort of gathering what you've learned and what happened and where you're at. And, I'd like to say, oh, thank goodness my neighbor finally stopped mowing. He's been mowing for the last 20 minutes. And I thought, I'm just not letting anything stop me today. I really felt a call to be here if anybody needed support tonight. And also, if you watched my video on the lunar eclipse and full moon in Scorpio, I was trying to recall a story that had come to me when I decided to sit down and talk about my intuitive take on what this eclipse may the possibilities of it, what it may feel like, what may be happening. And I always speak in the may and the if and the possibilities. I don't actually, when I listen to astrologers say, this is going to happen, I just want to say, well, you know what? Everybody has free will. Yeah, it may rain and I can deal with that. Again, astrological weather. And we, our world, our life that we're co-creating with the creator is for us to navigate, right? So I will say that about astrology that I wonder if I move a little closer to the light because it is kind of, hey, I'm kind of eclipsed. Just perfect, right, for this lunar eclipse. So if anybody has any lighting suggestions, please do let me know. It's when the time changes or the it's getting darker. It's dusk here now. I usually have sunlight coming through my office, and that helps the lighting while it's getting darker. On the verge of getting darker, and yeah. So, oh well, this is the lighting, and you know what? As if you are, have you been following along with me since I started this channel? One of my things is for all of us, and I have to make peace with this too. Don't wait. Don't just show up as you are. Let go of it being perfect. And I do get comment. I used to get a lot of comments on the lighting, and that was distracting me from just showing up and doing the videos. Yeah, you know what? I could have better lighting, but my soul wants to speak. So, and mostly, just listen to my voice. If the lighting bothers you, close your eyes and just listen to me. I open this space for you tonight or whenever you're watching this as a time for you to check in with yourself, as a time for you to connect with your body, with your inner world in relation to what's happening in the external world and in the celestial movements here. So I will do a little meditation in just a little bit, and I do have some reflection questions for you. I've been offering reflection questions, for years, like in my workshops, just ways to just take what is and be with it, to honor our own soul wisdom, to drop into that wisdom and shift to a better, higher perspective that will help us navigate or be with what is. So, if this is your first time seeing a video from me, I welcome you and I thank you. These videos are so intriguing to me, the hit or miss of how they get out there and who suddenly is seeing my video and suddenly responding from across the world. I'm both surprised and very honored. So thank you. I just invite you to stick around a little bit, maybe subscribe, watch a few of my videos, go watch some of my earlier videos. You know that my main message here, you'll learn, is show up to offer something that is supportive. I was pushed to the edge of my comfort zone in 2020 before the pandemic. Had this call. It's time to try to do a YouTube video channel for people. Wanted to outreach to more people. Didn't feel ready, didn't feel prepared, still don't feel prepared. And that's something I really want to get through to all of you. So many of my friends and so many people that I work with and so many professionals, practitioners, healing practitioners, or, people that do what I do, or therapists, we often do struggle with imposter syndrome, or we're dealing with our own stuff when we show up for others. So part of my mission is breaking the myth of perfection. Like, you have to be a certain way, um, have it all together, all your wounds healed before you can be of service. Not true. Okay. I know that a lot of people that do follow me are my tribe of wounded healers, those who really do relate to being wounded by this life and yet being called to be of service, right? Now, what I say about that, being called to be of service, we cannot step over ourselves to do that. We must tend to our own wounds, tend to our own healing, do our own healing, and be very consistent with that. And by the way, on a side note, because this channel wasn't started to be an astrology channel, just so you know, I took my astrology out of the closet in 2020 because, as most people were trying to figure out what was going on with the world, I will in perfectly aligned with the lunar eclipse in Scorpio, what we've been hiding, Scorpio energy. Now, wherever this lunar eclipse is happening in your chart, say it's in your first house, you might be reconciling what have you been hiding about your identity that you haven't been willing to share, right? Or your second house, what's going on with your finances, or what's shadowing your self-worth? Where do you need to call your personal worth up from the shadows of negative beliefs? I'm not going to go around all of that right now, but just that's in general. So Scorpio energy is that, like, let's dig underneath and figure out what's going on, right? So the Scorpio full moon, it's perfect to talk about how I've studied astrology since I was a kid. Really, I was intrigued, as Scorpios can be, or anyone who's really drawn to the mystical path, the curiosity about why we're here and who we are, and trying to create meaning. And for me, astrology was a navigational tool. It felt like guidance from Creator for me. And yet I hid it. I was afraid what people would think. I hid it because I was afraid of being judged. And then when I decided it was too important, to share, and I brought it out in 2020, I was afraid that I didn't know enough. I'm just being super transparent here. And the truth is, and I just listened to a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful YouTube video from someone that I admire. I've taken a few classes from her. Gosh, my face is really shadowy. Hopefully it's looking better um, on the other side when I when it's done. And I sometimes look at the videos later and they're better than I realized in terms of I'm judging the lighting. Anyway, I took this out of the closet in 2020 and I realized, boy, astrology. I mean, I had always been learning and reading books here and there, but I started going deeper with my studies and realized I don't know as much as I thought I did know, or there's so much more to know. So I took a few classes with Trust Psyche. And also, I reconnected with, or I connected with an astrologer who has now become my mentor, Stephanie Austin. You've seen her on this channel. We've done a few, she's done a few presentations on my channel. She's amazing. But I went to Trust Psyche, and I think I found a video of Jessica DeRuzza and her lovely husband Travis. I love these two. They're a dynamic duo, and they teach wonderful classes. And they also she has a YouTube channel as well. She's brilliant, so brilliant. Anyway, she did a video. Hello, JK. Welcome. She did a video. I think it was just yesterday, and I was like, perfectly timed, Jessica, as usual. I mean, this woman has her finger on the pulse of what we all need. I love her. Anyway, her topic was coming out as an astrologer. And I was like, oh, yes, I've been still wrestling with this since 2020, our mowers back. Oh, well, hopefully you don't hear it. I do. So bringing things out of the shadow. Now, shadow is what we've denied, repressed. We've maybe had some shame around, and we've hidden it, right? So that's what this eclipse, full moon, and Scorpio may be showing you, where it's landing in your natal chart. Hopefully, you know your houses. I do practice Placidus house system. No, I know it's very popular for people to look at whole sign house. That doesn't really resonate with me, but hey, whatever house system you use, that's cool. Look at the house where you have 14 degrees Scorpio and 14 degrees Taurus. They're going to be in opposition. So say your rising sign is Scorpio. So the full moon eclipse will be happening in your first house, the house of identity. And the axis is to relationships. Okay. So hello, Krista. Welcome. Ninth house. Oh, it's happening in your ninth house. Okay. Oh, nice. I'll look at that in just a moment. Cool. I love it. This is what I wanted. I wanted to do some interacting. But let me just say, as I interact with all of you, the thing I loved about Jessica's video, and she empowered me, and I do encourage you to go look at her channel and subscribe to her channel. She's genius. Trust Psyche. Anyway, she said, we never feel like something like, we're never going to feel like we know it all because there's so much to know. And it's so true. Astrology is so layered and deep. And I was holding myself back because I'm thinking, gosh, do I know enough? But I do know enough. And especially when I'm looking at a chart, when my intuition shines through to guide people, I look at charts from a soul perspective to see, what's your soul mission, your soul story. And I love that. Anyway, so when I do these lives, I was hesitating doing them with astrology because I was afraid there'd be a question I couldn't answer. And it's okay. I've made peace with that. And I'm sharing this because I think we all need to make peace and offer such grace and acceptance, especially if you're trying to do something that you're passionate about. And, whenever we're expanding our wisdom or our comfort zones, we're always going to be met at the edge of our comfort zone with, are you sure you can do this? Are you sure you're up to this? And all of your negative beliefs will come up, to talk you out of the thing you want to do. So I'd like to be really transparent because I want to encourage all of you out there to follow your passion, to follow what calls to you, and to, JK saying, fears. Fear is always going to be part of it, especially in the human experience. But when you connect to your soul vision, your mission, your desires, your purpose, fears dissolve. And sometimes we have to walk forward with it. Just All right, fear, we're doing this. Now, fear is not a bad thing because it's, meant to alert us to real things happening. And this is why we use the acronym FEAR, false evidence appearing real, to check it out and say, is this even real? Is it even true? Okay, so I want to check in here with you all for a moment, and then I'm going to get back to my story that I wanted to share in the other video that I forgot. And then we're going to do a meditation and some reflection questions that you can do on your own. You can do this later. You can just listen to them when you're in meditation, notice what comes forward, and then journal about them later. But I do want to touch base with Krista here. So you're saying that your ninth house is Scorpio and that the eclipse is happening in your ninth house. So this is a shift of your beliefs, where this eclipse is happening. What have you been hiding? This is where it's happening in my chart. So we're sharing this, Krista. Where have we denied a truth of ours that we haven't wanted to share for fear? Again, the shadow, fear of being judged, shamed, criticized. The thing about our human experience is we really just want to belong and fit in. And that's where fear comes in. We're afraid it's such a primal fear. We'll be kicked out of the tribe. We'll lose our connection. So this is where, when you have connection to your soul, when you have connection to however you connect to the divine, that you trust your soul calls and you step forward. So in your ninth house, I imagine, Krista, and you wrote more energy worker and oh, yep. And you get the imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. I feel you, Krista. Listen, I'll tell you what, you'll just start where you are and step forward with shaky knees, and the fear will leave you alone when you step forward over and over and over again. You just have to. And then you practice in this new way of being. And also, I would say for all of you listening, especially with this lunar eclipse, because it's, revealing what needs to be healed. It's showing us what's in the way of our potential and our purpose. And it's important to get clear on that vision. What is the highest possibility for me, for my life, for my soul calls? Okay. And then when you have that vision, Krista, or whoever's listening, that vision becomes stronger than the fear. And you feed that vision and you get excited about it. And then you grow into who you need to be to fulfill that vision. Okay. So I celebrate your next step for you, Krista. Okay. And let's see. Yep. Okay. Intense energy. Oh, Gemini rising. Okay. So it sounds like do you use Placidus too, Jakey? Because it's 29 degrees of Gemini. Okay. So let me get back to, and thank you. Keep chatting. I'll try. I don't usually have this many people here, people. So I'm practicing right now in real time how to chat and how to stay on topic. This is for somebody who can get easily distracted. It can be a challenge, but I want to grow this skill. So thank you for playing along with me, guys. Okay. So I wanted to tell you this story that came to me the other day when I said I'm going to talk about this lunar eclipse and shadow work. And what really kept coming was time to face those fears, to turn. And this is perfect for some of the comments here. Turn and face the fears. Turn and look at what you've been afraid to look at, what you've been denying or not, being like an ostrich with your head in the sand, not paying attention to. Since it's a Taurus Scorpio axis, maybe this be financial matters. Maybe it could be relationship stuff with Taurus ruled by Venus. Maybe it could be money connected with other people, other people's resources, or how you're managing that. So anywhere you've been not willing to look and you've been avoiding looking, or you've been hiding something, when we hide things, this is what creates shame. When you bring it to the light and you honor it's just where you are and it's just what has been and just what's happened, shame fades out, has no more power over you. So we just have to admit, and some of the reflection questions I think will help you with this, we just have to admit we are where we are. We have lived our lives how we've lived them. And so eclipses can, bring a lot to the surface. And especially, full moons can feel emotional anyway. And so I just want to just say, be gracious, gentle, and aware. Like, and also thank you, however you connect. Thank you, God, for showing me this. You're showing me this so that I can help myself by healing this or clearing this so I can get to my soul desires, right? Everything that's unfold happening is part of our unfolding. And that's where we need to have a lot of faith, a lot of trust. Okay. So, okay. So the story, do you all know Pema Chodron? Pema Chodron is one of I call her my spiritual teacher. Never met her, wish I could. I'm going to look at your comment really quick. I was trying. Oh, Scorpio North Node. Okay, yeah. Let me come back to you, JK, because I want to remember this story, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, thank you for your question. So I do appreciate it. Tell me, this is so random, but please, somebody tell me, is the lighting? I mean, is my face too light, too shadowy? Can you see me? Okay, I can't tell from my screen. Hopefully, it's okay. All right. So Pema Chodron is a Buddhist teacher. She was one of the voices I found years ago. Thank you, Krista. Years ago, when I started my spiritual journey, my transformational process, and I was, looking for mentorship. Again, I never got to meet her. But and this is going to sound silly, but I love my mom. My mom died when I was 17. So I was looking for some healthy feminine role models, and Pema was one of those. Thank you, JK. And so I highly recommend, and this book I found when I was going through big heartbreak years ago called, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on this great book. This is where you go. This is me toggling between comments and my own flow. But When Things Fall Apart, Fall Apart by Pema Chodron. This book is fantastic. It's a small book. It's a good read. And I think it's important for these times, these intensely transformational times when we are we're having to deconstruct things that don't work anymore. And we're watching it happen in our collective world. Especially now, Pluto was in Aquarius and it's retrograding. It's at 0 degrees Aquarius still. We got a taste of what it will be like when Pluto does go into Aquarius, I think in 2025 for 20 years. But it's heading back to Capricorn, which is like, how are your structures? How are the things like, our systems working? And we're seeing not so great, right? So there's going to be a lot of transformation and remodels with us individually and collectively. So, okay. So Pema, this book, When Things Fall Apart, excellent read. So I remember reading this book, and it's funny because the story came to me as a perfect story for shadow work and facing your fears. And I had a whole different story in my mind about it, and I reread it and like, okay, I kind of augmented the story, and that's okay. Sometimes we do that. Sometimes our souls do that. You hear a story and it resonates with your soul, and then you add on a little bit to really complete the story that your soul's trying to say. But basically, this story, it was a story from one of her teachers, where, and see, in my story, I said it like this, like this group of people were walking with their master, with their teacher, and following the teacher through a dark night, and I think I even said it was just a very scary scenario. They're just walking in the dark. And the story is, yes, they were walking with their teacher, and it was her teacher, which is trying to think of his name. Trungpa Rinpoche. And the story is that they're walking through a monastery that they've never seen before, and as they are moving through the gates, there's a large guard dog there chained up, but very, threatening. And the students, the way that I remembered the story, the students get frightened and start to run. But the real story is that, yes, they get scared. The students get scared. And the teacher is just gently walking with them. And the dog breaks free. The dog busts out of its chains. And in my mind, in the story, that the students started to run. That's the way that when I read it, for some reason, maybe at that time I was running away from things. So the students are running. And the master teacher turns and starts running towards the dog as it's running towards him. And the dog just stops, puts its tail between its legs, and gets scared, and it goes the other way. Now, I love this story, and it's fitting for this time right now. We're all being asked to turn and face our fears. And think about it, in my version, the students are running and the dog is chasing after them. If we don't turn and face our fears, we will be chased by them. They will chase us in our day-to-day lives. They'll chase us in our dreams until we turn and face them. In fact, in dream work, this is a little tip for those of you who do dream work, and I love dream work. If you're ever being chased in a dream and it's reoccurring, something wants your attention. And if you can plant this seed before you fall asleep, that I will turn and face that. And then you turn and face it in your dreams. And then that is where you'll get a healing, a solution, or you can do active imagination, which is a process that Jung created, where you dialogue with that part that's chasing you, that character in your dream that's chasing you. The point is, you want to engage. You don't want to run away. You want to face what's chasing you, symbolically or truly in life. You want to face the things you've been avoiding. Okay. So that was the story. I could not recall it. And of course, the minute I finished the video last time, came right back. There it was. Okay. So let me see if I can answer your question now. I told you this isn't my strength, but I'm going to do my best. Okay. I have ascendant trine MC in my natal chart at 1 degree. Okay. You speak to this aspect. Okay. So, I have a Scorpio. Let's see, did you already tell me what your ascendant is? What is your ascendant, JK? And I love that you have a Scorpio North Node. I'm curious how the North Node in Taurus has been for you because, okay, got it. Gemini. Okay. Well, so again, what I like to say about astrology, I'd like to look at your whole chart, because when I look at a whole chart, I see all of the indicators that lead towards, like after 2 or 3, like, oh, okay, this is a possibility. This is a great possibility. But I would just, with what you're telling me, Scorpio North Node and Gemini rising, and your ascendant is trine your MC, that I would think of something about writing and expression. But there's that transformational energy there with that North Node and Scorpio. So your journey, JK, is moving away from the safety of your default Taurus South Node, where it's about this world and the safety of security and having things and being practical. Your North Node and Scorpio is saying it's time to expand probably your spiritual journey or your faith, and reaching for that MC with that trine from your ascendant and Gemini. What do you want to express to the world that has to do with transformation? What do you want to bring that's transformational? You're through communication or writing or teaching. So, and I love, when we talk about South and North Node, remember, we're always going to default back to that South Node energy. So does that resonate with you, that your Taurus energy is like your fallback? Like, okay, I'm worried about security. And yet Scorpio wants you to dive into the mystery with faith, right? Okay. Hopefully that helped. And where is your North Node in your chart? What house? That's what I'm not good at, because I'm not good with math. I like to see it, and my intuition will tell me the rest. But anyway, hope that helped. Okay. So we are already at 29 minutes, and I want to take us into a little meditation, and I'm going to read through the reflection questions. You can do these with the video, or you can go to my Instagram, which is I am the soul nurturer. And I posted the reflection questions there. You can just write them down. But did that meet you where you wanted to be met, JK? Oh, astro traveler. I love it. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Nice. Yeah. I wish I had more Gemini. I wish I had more air. I'm all water and fire. I'm a Scorpio with moon in Leo, and I thank goodness for my Capricorn rising, because other than that, I'm all fire. Sag, Leo, and my watery Scorpio. So, okay. So let's drop in if you can, or you can, come back to this when there's the replay to do this meditation. And mostly I just wanted to invite us to come in, to turn within, to turn away from the world, to connect. Ooh, I'm a Leo moon too. I love it. Awesome. That's why we're resonating. Okay. You definitely want to express. You definitely have a message you want to bring into the world, to shine with the message you have to bring, teaching, even I'm seeing, or I'm feeling like, some expression, like dance or acting. But there's some transformational aspect to it, I think, with you. Okay. So let's take a moment and just drop in together in honor of this beautiful transformational energy that's, we're in the eve of. And I believe that when you work with what the possibilities are, then you're not worked by the aspects, you're not worked by the eclipse, and you're not taken by surprise. You're prepared, you're ready. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's drop in. I'm going to ring my meditation bowl and give way to this moment, giving yourself permission to turn away from the external world and to drop in to your inner world, the true world that we have ultimate ability to tend, to heal, to remodel, to become present to what we need on the inner so that we can be stronger in the external world. And here with this, on the eve of the lunar eclipse, full moon in Scorpio, which is more potent energy than a typical full moon. And we typically feel the full moon 3 days before and 3 days after, but eclipses, we've been in the portal now for 2 weeks. This is an ongoing story, an ongoing unfolding. So just breathing into your heart, connecting to compassion, connecting to acceptance, connecting to this moment, and just breathing in what you need and exhaling everything else. And what do you most need in this moment to be present to yourself? Is it trust? Is it willingness? I know that some people have a challenge being present to themselves, because what I find is that when you were a kid, you didn't have that as a child. Your parents weren't present in the way you needed them to be. And so what happens is we tend to do the same with ourselves. How we were parented often is how we treat ourselves at the level of the unconscious. So just that awareness, being present right now, willing to be present to your body, your heart, your soul. Asking, what do I need in this moment to navigate what is going on in your world? Whatever you're brought to, you can navigate through it, but asking for what you need and imagining you have it right now. Faith, trust, a belief in yourself, capability, remembering if you're called to it, that you can walk through it. And so just breathing in. Now, I'm going to open my eyes and just look at my reflection questions that I would like you to consider right now, being curious about what is this moon revealing to you. And trusting, and again, this is where compassion is helpful. Like whatever's coming up, to be with it. And this is, again, I do want to remind you of Pema Chodron's work. She teaches about staying with what is, so that we can learn and grow or get the healing remedy for what is. So, my first reflection question, I'm just breathing in. And also, before I start here, just go ahead and imagine yourself grounding. And if it helps, to imagine a beautiful light moving in through the crown of your head, going down through your core, and just going down between your legs, down into the earth, grounding into Mother Earth. So you feel held and safe to explore, to be witness to become aware of, with compassion and curiosity. Because when we become aware, that's when we can make a different choice, okay? So my first reflection question is, what truth is emerging that you can no longer deny? What truth is emerging that you can no longer deny? Trust whenever arrives. If you're doing this at a different time, maybe you just journal your answer, just stream of consciousness, just let yourself write. Don't overthink it. Trust and know that you're safe to receive what you need to see. And that this eclipse and full moon is preparing you to fulfill a destiny. This is what an eclipse is. It's connected to the north or south node, in this case, the south node. So this may be about, what do we need to let go of? It's some truth like, oh, okay, I didn't want to admit I need to let go of this. Maybe it's drinking. Maybe it's a friendship. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's a habit that you know is not serving you. Next reflection question. What is being revealed that needs to be healed? What is being revealed that needs to be healed? And I'll tell you a clue about this. We tend to see it in other people. We tend to be triggered by other people. That's our shadow. And so we can't change other people, but we can work with what's coming through us. What's being revealed that needs to be healed? I borrowed that from one of my teachers, Reverend Michael Beckwith. So in this relaxed and really connected space, the next question is, what have you been putting up with throughout your life that doesn't support you? What have you been putting up with throughout your life? This is, bringing to the light, bringing to awareness, bringing to consciousness. Wow, I didn't realize I was still doing that, or I didn't realize that was a thing. Some of our patterns run so deep. And this eclipse season, I've had a lot of clients that I've shared this metaphor with. It's kind of like going into a dark room and turning on a light and seeing everything that you hadn't dealt with or that you need to see. And it's all purposeful. But it's also important. Awareness, I call it the awareness before change. Aware, okay, this isn't working for me anymore. It doesn't support me. And so I'm going to change it. Okay, next reflection question. And you'll notice these are all a very similar theme. This is eclipse. These are reflection questions for this particular eclipse. What have you outgrown that you know it's time to move on from? This could be limited perspective of yourself, could be limited beliefs. What have you outgrown that you know it's now time to move on from? It can be playing small, and you know that you're so much bigger and have so much more to share, so much more to offer. And it's time. It's time to move on from the limitations, okay? And again, similar vein. Where have you been holding yourself back. Scorpio moon is connected to personal power. And when we deny our power, we suppress our power. We may be triggered by people who are holding their power or really stepping forward. Or we also may really admire them. That's what Jung called the bright shadow, the golden shadow. You know, we think of the dark shadow as all the negative stuff. And that's not even negative either. It's just stuff that we've suppressed because we had shame around it. The bright shadow is kind of like, I didn't get what I needed to bring it forward. And so I question my worth. I question my capability. And then we hold ourselves back. So where have you been holding yourself back? Just awareness, because then you can say, I'm done with that. You know, we're done. And then this one's important too. What do you fear about stepping into your power and purpose? Again, facing the fear. When we face it, we find it has no more power over us. What do you fear about stepping into your power and purpose? And again, is it even true? And where, I would invite you to, where did I get that belief from? Or whose voice is that I'm afraid will judge me or criticize me for stepping into my power and purpose? And the healing remedy there is that your own voice becomes so loving and so encouraging, all those other negative voices fade out and they have no more power over you. So I want you just to realize that this is a time during this lunation cycle, during this eclipse, that it's a time we're being called to awaken, to practice surrendering what's not working so that we can emerge what would be more powerful for us in our lives. Time to face our fears, to do our shadow work, to stop sabotaging yourself. That's a big one. Fear will do that. Fear will make you sabotage what you're doing. So, and it's also fulfilling a prophecy of your negative core beliefs. So 2 things with sabotaging: tell a new story, empower your beliefs, and give your subconscious mind information about what you want to do so that it's going to green light it so you can go forward. Forgive yourself and everyone else. It's a powerful time to do this work right now as we are shedding old limiting ways of being. If we knew better in the past, we would have done better. And if our subconscious mind had the information, it would just be natural and the place we live from. And that's what we want to get to. We want to become our possible self and update our subconscious mind to live from that place. And tell the truth about your circumstances. Then when we tell our truth, then we can shed the shame and then we can come up with a plan of action. And it's a time to purge anything blocking your authentic nature. It's a time to deepen your faith in the unfolding mystery. And it's time to birth in your empowered self, your possible self, and all of your soul possibilities, creating that new story that supports you in your soul potential. Truly, it is time to begin again. So that's what this lunar eclipse, Scorpio energy, that's what it feels like for me. And just place your hand over your heart and just encourage yourself, connect to yourself and say, yes, I'm willing. It's time to begin again. This is a rebirthing cycle, and there's an ending and a new beginning. So we're just preparing for our new beginnings as we shed and release. And when you're ready, I want to invite you just to come on back if you're with me still. And I hope that was helpful to you. And it's just on my heart and soul to offer, because I want to help you navigate through these transformational times as I navigate myself, because I know that we're up to something great and beyond what we're facing right now. And we can do this, right? And Everybody is needed. Your purpose is needed. And just to trust that the challenges, the perceived problems, these are things that are sculpting us, sculpting our potential, preparing us. Good, Krista. I'm glad that it was fitting for you. Yay. Thank you for being with me, both of you, all of you. And yeah, I need to wrap up soon because I have a dinner date. So I send you all love, and just be for yourself, not against yourself, for your soul potential. And one thing I wanted to do, and before we wrap up, I want to do this with those who are here, if you want to play along, and when you watch the replay, because this is going to help you all. You all know what to do, and you all have the encouragement you need, and you most likely gave it to somebody today. So I want you to look at your phones, and I want you to look at the last text you sent that offered someone encouragement. Okay? If I can play along with that today. I'm sure that I have a bunch of text messages like that. The point of this is, it could be a text message, it could be a comment under somebody's message on Facebook, it could be a voicemail you left, it could have been talking to a friend or your child. And my theory is that our hearts are focused on other people, our compassion flows outward, and we need to learn to bring that compassion inward. But later, you can comment later, the last text you sent that was encouraging to someone else, and where does that fit for you? And healing is being willing to receive your own soul medicine, your own wisdom, your own advice. Okay? All right. Thanks again, everyone. I'm really grateful for all of you who are here with me live. I intend on doing these more often. And I'm really grateful for all of your support. Do subscribe if you haven't. I imagine that you all have. You're welcome, Krista, and thank you, JK. And hey, this video you can look at this video by going to click on live under my channel, but then it'll be in my regular stream tomorrow, and you can comment more. Let me know how this lunar eclipse feels as you move through it tomorrow, okay? All right, peace and blessings to all of you. Thanks for being with me, and take good care of yourself. You're worth it. Okay, bye-bye.